A giant's leg explodes. The forest shakes from its scream. A seal whispers, "Charges detonated." Another seal gets grabbed mid-sentence and crushed like a paper cup. Cut to black. This was supposed to be a rescue mission.
12 hours earlier. 20 Navy SEALs slip from 2 Blackhawks into a forest so dense that sunlight hasn't touched the ground in centuries. Boots hit wet soil without a sound. Hand signals only. No voices. No mistakes. They move in a staggered wedge through the undergrowth, navigating by GPS waypoints uploaded during the briefing no one wanted to believe. Recover captured civilians, eliminate threats, extract before dawn. Simple on paper. The point man switches to thermal overlay and the entire valley lights up in orange. 100 heat signatures, each one massive. Each one shaped like a human being scaled up to a size that makes every operator's jaw tighten. 25 feet tall on average, some closer to 30. The giants are sleeping in primitive encampments scattered across the valley floor, sheltered under crude structures built from uprooted trees and animal hides. The ground vibrates faintly with each of their breaths. The team leader makes his calls. 2 sniper pairs climb to elevated positions on the eastern ridgeline. A demolitions team moves low along the western edge, planting clusters of M15 anti-tank mines along the deep ruts the giants have carved into the earth. These paths are 6 feet wide, beaten flat by enormous feet over months of travel, impossible to miss. The first shots come from the ridge, silenced. A .338 Lapua round crosses 400 yards and strikes a lone giant in the temple. Its body twitches once, hand opens and closes, then nothing. A second giant takes 2 rounds through the soft palate, head snaps back, slumps sideways, without a sound. 4 more dropped over the next 20 minutes, clean kills, no alarms. Then the mines activate. A giant stumbles down a main trail. Its foot lands on a cluster of 3 M15s. The blast takes both legs off below the knee. The creature pitches forward into a second cluster, and the resulting explosion sends a pressure wave through the entire camp. Giants jolt awake everywhere, roaring, confused. 2 more step onto mined paths and lose limbs instantly. One drags itself forward on its arms, screaming in a guttural language that sounds almost like words. The SEALs pour fire into the chaos. Suppressed M4 bursts tear into exposed flesh. A 40mm grenade round staggers a cluster of 3 giants long enough for the snipers to place finishing shots. Giants falling, bleeding, crawling, dying. They have no idea where the attacks are coming from. They swing at trees, they pound the ground, they scream at the sky. At this stage, the SEALs are winning decisively. Every shot surgical, every explosion pre-planned. Ghosts with complete control over the battlefield. You might actually think they could pull this off.
Petty Officer Dominguez moves through a narrow ravine to reposition north. Movement, textbook, silent feet, controlled breathing, weapon up. He rounds a boulder and stops. A giant is sitting right there, eyes wide open. It wasn't sleeping. It had been watching the ravine with a patience no briefing prepared anyone for. Its hand moves with terrifying speed. It grabs Dominguez around the chest and lifts him off the ground. His rifle clatters against rock. Over the radio, the team leader hears the beginning of a scream, then a wet compressing sound, then static. 5 seconds of silence. The team leader keys his mic. Nothing comes back. They weren't as primitive as they looked. Deep inside the camp, 7 botany students are bound inside crude cages built from lashed bones. 2 skeletons lie nearby, stripped clean. Cooking pits smolder. One student whispers, "They eat one of us every day." Their distress beacon reached a military satellite 4 days ago. The government sent the SEALs. Within the hour, the giants change. They stop using their trails entirely. They've connected the explosions to the paths. Instead, they push through the dense canopy, moving through the trees, using terrain as cover the same way the SEALs do. The predators are learning from their prey. Then the boulders start flying. Giants rip rock from cliff faces and hurl it in sweeping arcs across the forest. They're not aiming, they don't need to. Each boulder crashes through the canopy like a wrecking ball, snapping old-growth trees and sending debris in every direction. One lands directly on a four-man seal element behind a fallen log. No warning, no time to move. Just a ground-shaking impact and 4 call signs that go permanently dark. The night that was supposed to be their greatest advantage has turned against them. Radio chatter shifts. One operator takes 3 tries to key his mic before reporting position. Another's hands shake so badly he fumbles a magazine change, something he hasn't done since basic training. Ammunition counts are dropping fast. Thermal scopes that gave them godlike awareness at the start are now overwhelmed by dozens of massive heat signatures moving from every angle. The screens are a useless wash of orange.
Half the team is already gone. 10 SEALs dead, and they haven't even reached the captives yet. If you think they make it out alive, like and subscribe. The giants aren't reacting anymore. They're hunting. Groups of 4 and 5 sweep through the forest in deliberate arcs, flushing operators from cover the way wolves drive elk toward a kill zone. One SEAL is grabbed from behind and dragged into the darkness between the trees. His screams last 8 seconds. The unit's best sniper takes a thrown tree trunk directly to his position on a rocky shelf. The entire ledge collapses. His spotter crawls from the rubble with broken fingers and a dislocated shoulder. The sniper doesn't emerge. Explosive reserves nearly gone. Only 9 SEALs remain combat effective, several carrying injuries that would normally mean immediate evacuation. But they push forward. The mission isn't survival. The mission is the hostages. When the remaining operators breach the holding area, what they find is worse than any ambush. The giants have pulled the students from their bone cages and are holding them in their fists, raised overhead. Human shields. The giants stare down at the SEALs with an expression that can only be described as knowing. They understand what the small ones came for. One operator attempts a precision shot to free a student. The round strikes the giant's wrist. It flinches, doesn't release, tightens its hand instead. The student's scream cuts through the radio, then stops. The operator who took the shot doesn't stand back up. He stays on one knee, rifle lowered, staring at the ground. Another SEAL beside him reaches for his shoulder, then pulls his hand back. No one speaks on the radio for 10 seconds. When the team leader finally transmits, his voice cracks on the first word before he steadies it. The SEAL commander gathers the remaining 8 behind a rock formation. Blood runs down his left arm. He doesn't acknowledge it. His voice is quiet, steady, stripped of everything except what needs to happen next. Remaining landmines carried by hand to the giant's feet. 3 two-man teams rush the holding area from different angles. One operator extracts the surviving students through a drainage ravine on the south side. A plan built entirely on sacrifice. They move. First pair sprints at a giant holding 2 students. Mine detonated at its ankle. Foot gone. The giant crashes forward, both captives released. Second pair flanks east, plants charges beneath 3 giants. Detonation blows all 3 off their feet. The forest catches fire. Flames climb the canopy. The valley turns orange. Close quarters combat at a scale that defies everything. Giants bleeding from dozens of wounds, still charging. SEALs emptying magazines into walls of flesh. One operator stepped on. Another swatted 30 feet into a tree trunk hard enough to split it. They keep fighting. A SEAL slides between a giant's legs and detonates his last charge against its knee. It topples. He doesn't roll clear in time. Another operator fires until his rifle clicks empty, draws his sidearm, keeps firing. The last coordinated attack. Daisy-chained explosives detonate across the camp center. The final standing giants collapse into the flames. Silence. 100 giants reduced to bodies across a burning forest. 6 SEALs still standing. 1 dies from internal bleeding before extraction arrives. 5 SEALs make it onto the extraction helicopters. 4 surviving students are carried aboard on stretchers. None of them speak. None make eye contact. 1 SEAL sits in the helicopter with his hands open on his knees, palms up, fingers still trembling. He stares at them like they belong to someone else. Another hasn't blinked since boarding. The crew chief glances at him twice, then looks away. Behind them, the forest burns. Military aircraft drop additional incendiary payloads to ensure nothing remains. The after-action report is filed under a classification level fewer than 40 people can access. It reads simply, Classified biological incident. No coordinates, no names, no photographs. The 5 surviving SEALs are debriefed for 11 days at a facility that doesn't appear on any map. They are told the mission never happened. The giants never existed. They sign papers. They sit through medical evaluations designed more to ensure silence than treat what's broken inside them. The forest is ash within a week. Satellite imagery confirms total destruction. But 3 months later, an analyst reviewing routine orbital scans flags something. Beneath the ash, deep in the scorched valley, thermal sensors pick up movement. Large movement, multiple signatures. And satellite scans still show movement under the ash.